Hello everyone and welcome to another SkillCapped guide. I'm Carnage Gaming and today I will be teaching you exactly how to counter every single agent in Valorant. This guide will be going over tips to help every single player out there. Keep in mind all of these tips have been curated by the top Valorant players and coaches who have spent countless hours of research on them. So whether you're brand new and starting the iron ranks or an experienced pro that's working their way to the top, I guarantee you will learn something useful from this video. Let's hop straight into this guide with Phoenix. Phoenix is actually super easy to counter if you know what to look for. For instance, let's talk about his flash ability. This flash is one of the most powerful abilities but can actually be countered easily. If you know that a Phoenix is in a certain area, you can expect a flash to be coming. When this flash comes, look away from it, then immediately look back and hold the angle. With some good timing, this should land you a pretty easy kill on Phoenix because he's going to think that it is completely safe to peek. Now, let's say you don't have the reaction time to look away from that flash. Well, that's fine. There's another great way to counter his flash. As soon as his flash goes out, pre-aim at head level. After you get flashed, you want to wait about a half second and then start to shoot. Try to control your spray enough to keep your bullets shooting near head level. If done correctly, this can usually land you a free kill on him as he peeks. Now those are two great ways to counter his flash, but another thing that I see players struggle with while playing against Phoenix is countering his ultimate. This ult is a little harder to counter, but I'm going to teach you a method that will make his ult virtually useless. Phoenix's ult allows him to push out and then instantly respawn after he dies. Due to the nature of this ult, the best way to counter it is actually to run away. In most situations, running away from his ult is going to be the best bet. This is going to keep you safe and make his ult useless. Now, let's say running away isn't an option. Well, your second option is going to be try to play an off angle to quickly kill it before it can get any damage done. Finally, if you can successfully find the area he originally ulted from, you can get a free kill on him after this ult expires. Moving on, let's talk about Sage. Almost every team you play against is going to be running with a Sage, so learning how to counter her is essential. First, let's talk about her wall. Countering the wall is actually a whole lot easier than many players realize. In most situations, you are going to want to break the wall as soon as you can. Keep in mind, you don't have to push after this though. Breaking this wall instantly is going to do a couple of things for you. It is going to create pressure on that area of the map and will force the Sage to stay where she's at. Again, I want to reiterate, you don't have to push after you break this wall, but breaking it alone will force the Sage to stay in her position because there's that threat that you could push through. Next, let's look at Sage's ult. Sage's ult allows her to res a teammate that has died. This is an extremely powerful ability, so you want to always check and see if she has it at the start of the round. You can do this by hitting tab. If she has her ultimate, you want to play a little bit differently than usual. After you get a kill, try to remind yourself that she could res this player. Use this knowledge to maybe watch this dead body a little more carefully than you usually would. Players are also extremely vulnerable when they are resed, so if you see the ult used, peek out and grab that free kill. Finally, with Sage, you just want to try and bait out her utility. Sage has so many powerful defensive abilities, so the earlier you can get her to use them, the better. You can do this by pushing in, waiting for her to use a wall or a slow orb, and then just fall off. This will render her abilities relatively useless as long as you play it correctly. Next up, Breach. Breach is actually a pretty tough character to counter. In general, his abilities are hard to predict and they're even harder to get away from most of the time. There are still some useful tips that we can learn though. For instance, we can counter his flash the same way we countered Phoenix's. When Breach flashes, you can either try to look away and then get the kill on him, or you can pre-aim at head level and spray until you hopefully secure the kill. Another thing that you can do to counter Breach is a small tip that will make his ultimate way less useful. As soon as you hear his ult start, run. Try your best to either get out of it completely or just get yourself to some cover. The reason that we want to stay out of his ult so bad is because you become basically a sitting duck if you're hit by it. If you die to this ultimate, you will most likely be giving the enemy team a massive advantage. And next up, we have everyone's favorite archer, Sova. In my opinion, Sova's probably the easiest agent to counter. Let me explain. First, countering the recon bolt is simple. All you have to do is shoot it quickly. If you can shoot the recon bolt before it can scan you, you have rendered this ability basically useless. The best way to do this is to listen for when the arrow comes and look for it as it flies in. Then, shoot it quickly and you're good. This will give them the info that one player is in your position, but that is much better than it scanning and finding everyone nearby. Next, let's talk about how to counter his drone. Have you ever been tagged by one of Sova's drones and then instantly wallbanged and died? Well, it's happened to me more times than I'd like to admit. But avoiding this is simple, and you have two options here. You can try and shoot out his drone as soon as possible so that it doesn't even get the chance to hit you. If it does hit you, immediately move and do everything you can to move yourself around so that you can't be instantly killed. I found that bunny hopping around usually works best and will allow you to live. Lastly, let's learn to counter Sova's ultimate. Countering this is actually very similar to the drone with one exception. The best way to counter Sova's ultimate is actually to rush him if you can. This ultimate makes Sova super slow and actually makes him super vulnerable. If you can, rush Sova and get a free kill on him while he tries to ult your team. If this is not an option, run around, bunny hop, do anything that you can to move positions. And if you're playing Jett or Raze, you can even use your movement abilities to get out of the way quickly. Moving on, how about we learn to counter Omen? Omen is similar to Sova just in the sense that they're super easy to counter if you know what to look for. For instance, Omen's paranoia, also known as his flash. Many players get caught in this and then instantly give up. This is not what you should do. You can actually do a lot of things whenever you're blinded by this. First, you want to try and figure out what direction it came from. This will give you a general area to look for Omen in. You can also use the strategies that we talked about with all of the other vision obscuring flashes in the game. Pre-aim at where he would peek and spray. Remember, this is risky but could get you a free kill. Following up his paranoia, you will see Omens use their teleport ability often. This usually puts them in a position that you would not expect. And to counter this, all you have to do is listen. An audio cue is sounded when he teleports, which should alert you to this. Now that you know he teleported, you need to check any angle that you think he could have gotten to, especially on top of boxes, etc. The same thing actually goes for his ultimate as well. If you're close enough, you can actually figure out the direction he teleported to. You can then call this to your team and play off of it however you need. Alright, have you ever tried to push a site, but Cypher is there and he seems unstoppable? You push in, but get tripwired and killed. Or even you try to push, but he spots you and your team with his camera before you even had a chance. Well, this seems to be a common theme while playing against Cypher. Let me show you how to change this. First, his tripwires. There are only so many places that Cypher can place his tripwires. Predict where they're going to be and slowly walk up to them and shoot them. Or even just use a Sova shock dart, Raze blast pack, or Jett dash to instantly break them. Breaking these tripwires will work while you try to attack, but defending is a little different. Usually while you're on defense, you will run into tripwires while you try to flank. A lot of times, especially in lower ranked games, these tripwires are actually able to be jumped over or crouched under. If you're able to get around a tripwire that is protecting the enemy team's flank, you can actually put yourself in an insane position. The enemies will think that they're safe because the tripwire hasn't been broken, but in reality, you've maneuvered around. And finally, Cypher's oh so powerful ultimate. The only real way to counter this ultimate is to try and fake it out. Once you hear the ultimate sound, try and run in a different direction, or even just look in a different direction than where you actually plan on going. The enemies will see your character model looking this way and assume that you're traveling that direction. This can lead to some confused opponents when you actually end up going the opposite way. Okay, we've already been through a ton of great tips so far, so if you actually enjoyed this, consider subscribing to keep up with the best Valorant content on YouTube. Thank you, and let's talk about Raze. When countering Raze, we actually see a very common theme. Countering most of her abilities involve running away as fast as you possibly can. Alright, in all seriousness, this is honestly the best way to counter some of her abilities, especially her ultimate. I'm sure you've been holding an angle before, ready to get a couple kills, only to have a rocket absolutely destroy you. Well, the best way to counter this is honestly to run away as soon as you hear her ultimate audio cue. This is especially important if you're in a confined area that would be an easy target. For instance, Haven A Site Heaven. If a Raze tries to push site and doesn't see anyone, she will use her ultimate most likely on Heaven. She'll just shoot it up there because it's usually an easy kill. Keep this in mind and run away. Lastly, we can counter Raze's Boombot. The best way to do this is just to instantly shoot it. We can use a similar thought process to the Sage Wall counter right here. Even if the Boombot isn't coming for you, you should immediately break it. This is going to make it so that the ability isn't able to clear angles for the enemies and hopefully will keep you a little safer. Keep in mind though, this isn't the best idea in all situations, but most of the time this will work out. Moving on, how in the world do we counter Brimstone? It seems like he can easily use his smokes, block off angles, and even single-handedly win rounds for free with his ultimate. Well, all of these things are kinda true, but you can easily minimize the power that Brimstone has with a couple of quick tricks. For starters, countering his smoke ability is going to be pretty difficult. The best thing that you can do is spray through the smoke when you think that the enemies are pushing. This could net you a free kill or two, but also keep in mind the enemies will see your bullet tracers through the smoke if you aren't using a silenced weapon. That means if you're using a Vandal, for example, the enemy will be able to easily pinpoint your location through the smoke. Keep this in mind and don't stay still while you spray these smokes. Now for the powerful ultimate. Obviously, the best way to counter his ultimate is just to get out of it, so we won't go too in depth with that. I want to talk more about how to counter it in situations where the bomb is already planted. If Brimstone has his ultimate after planting, he will most likely hide and just wait for you to start defusing. This is actually a super strong tactic, but you can counter it. The first step is realizing he has his ultimate. If you end up in a retake situation, quickly check and see if he has the ultimate. If he does, you need to play fast and precisely. You need to clear the site quickly and tap the bomb as soon as possible. As soon as you tap the bomb, run away. Odds are he will use that ultimate, and then you can go and try and kill him and get the defuse with time to spare. If you waste time in a situation like this, you will lose 99% of the time. So, in the most recent patch, we saw some crazy Viper buffs. Now, Viper's being played way more often, so countering her is going to become more and more important as time goes on. The best way to counter Viper and her abilities is honestly just to wait them out. Usually Viper will use her abilities to get some free kills as you push out. And honestly, the best way to stop Viper from getting free kills like this is just to wait. Viper's toxin levels will run out eventually and her abilities will be useless. The last thing that you can do to counter Viper is counter her ultimate. When you see Viper's ultimate, try and spray through and get a kill on her. This is actually way easier to do than many players think. Try to predict where she might be standing and start spraying and praying. Alright, I will admit Viper is pretty tough to counter effectively, but contrary to popular belief, Reyna is actually pretty easy to counter. First up, her flash. Her flash seems super difficult to counter, but her flash ability is actually able to be destroyed. So to counter this, all you have to do is quickly destroy it before she has the chance to peek out and utilize it. You again could use the tip that we've talked about all guide for flashes, but this will be less effective. Another great thing that you can do is predict Reyna's location based on where she's healing. A purple line will come out of the orb where she's healing from and will alert you to her exact position. You can then wallbang her or even just hold an angle that puts you at an advantage. Similar to her heal, you can also see her while she's in her dematerialized state. Basically, all you have to do is track her while she's invisible, and as soon as it ends, spray her down. It takes her about a second to pull out her weapon again, so as long as you don't whiff your shots, you should be able to pick up an easy kill. And now for our final agent of the guide, let's talk about Jett. Jett is actually pretty difficult to counter, but it is mainly because her abilities just aren't that strong. The only real way to counter Jett is just to always be listening for sound cues that will alert you to where she is. For instance, when she uses her updraft, you should immediately be looking into the sky and checking on top of boxes or other positions that she could have gotten to. Other than that, basically just stay aware of the fact that she can get to some unexpected positions. Just remembering to check different angles that you wouldn't normally will usually result in a good Jett counter. Also remember, you can see where her smokes come from just by noticing the path they took to land wherever they do end up landing. Alright, we just went over some of the craziest ways to counter every single agent in Valorant. Which trick was most useful to you? Let us know in the comment section below. And while you're down there, hit that like button and sub with notifications on to keep up with the most premium Valorant guides you will find on YouTube. I want to thank you all for watching because without you, this would not be possible, so thank you for that. This has been Carnage Gaming, thank you again for watching this SkillCapped guide, and good luck, good half, and good game.